Hello, greetings once again. Let me turn this on. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. So, um, I'm just gonna be reacting to a clip that pretty much, it just shows what kind of stupidity goes on at the Daily Wire. We're gonna be talking about their third stringer, Michael Knowles, responding to a clip of AOC. And yeah, we're gonna check that out, and I'll just give all my thoughts afterwards.
Absurdities will abound. I wonder if it might collapse under the weight of its own absurdity. Probably not before a lot more harm is done. But AOC showed this the other day because AOC is getting a little bit jealous. She's envious that all of the black grievance politics are getting the attention, and she's not allowed to participate in those grievance politics. She has now redefined Latinos as black.
The first thing that's so important is for us to talk about racism within our community and how we fit both, how we are both impacted by racism in the United States and across the world, but also how it exists within our own communities. And, a lot of times I'll hear people say, okay, this is about Black Lives Matter. What about Latinos? And I always say, Latinos are black. we are Afro-Latina, and we run an entire racial spectrum. And so we have to have conversations around colorism, and we have to have conversations about the African and indigenous roots from which we come and how that's reflected in systems of power, wealth inequality, and frankly, our political system.
Latinos are black. That's the big brain take from AOC. News to me, but, well, that's pretty interesting. I also can't let her get away with that pronunciation. Notice what she does. She's speaking perfectly fine English. She grew up in Yorktown. She grew up in a very ritzy town in Westchester County. So she's speaking English like a normal person. She goes, and, one thing I always hear about Latinos is that some people say that they're either white or black. But what I want to point out is that Latinos are black. Why are you pronouncing it that way? Well, I'm Italian, right? I'm of Italian extraction. When I decide where I want to go to dinner some nights, do I say, okay, well, we can either get hamburgers or we can go get, some hot dogs, or maybe we can go get Italiano. Yeah, no, I don't know. We'll get whatever you want. We can go get a grilled cheese, we'll get a cup of soup, or maybe we'll go eat some Italiano food. No, I don't do that. I say Italian food. I don't say, oh, okay, I want to go, maybe I'll have some escargot tonight. Let's go eat français. Oh, français would be very good. No. I speak English, the way that English people talk. Same thing with Latino. I mean, the word Latino, really what we're talking about is the word Hispanic. Now it's politically incorrect to say Hispanic, so you have to say Latino. But the pronunciation of it is a ridiculous performance of this kind of racial grievance politics. And I think you're going to see pushback. I think actually AOC is probably going to have to apologize for this, because there is a little bit of a debate right now going on the left between the intersectional woke people who say that every racial and sexual minority has to, religious minority, they all have to combine together and put away their differences for a second to stop the oppressive straight white Christian male who thinks he's a man. And so they'll all get together in kumbaya. And then there's this kind of older, more Marxist form, which you're seeing in Black Lives Matter, which basically says, no, Hispanics are not black, Colombians are not black, Asians are not black. The black experience is a unique experience, and we are going to be a sort of monolithic unit. We're going to see that debate. AOC is pretty adept at navigating the waters of left-wing culture, so I don't think she's going to have to deal with this, necessarily straightforwardly, in a direct way.
So, there's definitely a lot to unpack there. But first, let's call out AOC, because I believe she didn't say everything properly or the way she should have. So, she said blacks are Latinos. I mean, she's not technically wrong, but not all blacks are Latinos. It's pretty much, if you're born in Latin America, you're Latino. So I don't think that makes me Latino, since I was born here in the United States, even though my parents are Mexican, and Mexican is Latino. But really, there's slavery, and slavery from 500 years ago. You know, I think over 70, probably 80% of the slaves during the slave trade actually went to Brazil. So, you know, they are a huge part of the culture. Latinos and ethnicity is not really a race, but the way Michael Knowles talks about it, he talks more about it as a race. And that's just kind of like what the right wing does, because they're gonna be like, it's politically incorrect to say it's Hispanic. And the liberals, such snowflakes, you see, they need to make a identity for everything. So AOC, I would kind of just cherry pick that. I would say, yeah, there are blacks and that make up a huge part of Latino culture. They have contributed to a huge part of our history. They have contributed, especially I would say in Brazil and more South America than Central and Mexico, around that area. So anything below Panama, I would say, well, maybe not Chile and Argentina, because I don't think they have a huge black population. Whereas, we do know Colombia, um, Brazil, and a few other countries, maybe Bolivia. They do have a black population. Mexico does did they didn't do too much with the slave trade. Oh, and also in the Caribbean, I forgot to mention that Cuba and Dominican Republic, Haiti, definitely good examples of black Latinos. But guess what? Michael Knowles, he doesn't know the difference, because um, if the Spanish pretty much, the Spanish came to the Americas, raped and plundered, and you know what if they didn't do that to some of the black population? What if they didn't do that to? What if they did it only to like a small portion? Then they're not even Hispanic. So it's incorrect to call them Hispanic. But he just wanted to marginalize everything and put them in one group. So no, if you want to put them in one group, sure, put them in the group of Latino, because they live in Latino America. Don't be stupid. But he's a hack. He's a hack. He's a fucking hack. So I don't know what else to tell him there. All right, and okay, so also I want to explain my stance on, because Michael Knowles tries to make fun of AOC. He tries to poke fun by saying, "Oh, look at her. She says Latino and Latina. She kind of gives a bit of an accent out there." What he doesn't understand is, I think it's more to do with our Hispanic culture, especially if we have Spanish-speaking parents. Sometimes we just like to say things as we would with a bit of an accent, a bit of a like a Mexican dialect or whatever dialect. So for us, that's kind of just more about our culture. It's not just to like show off, okay? And that's how you stay connected to your community. It's kind of like the early Chicanos in the United States. You had to mix, Mexican Chicanos. You had to mix your Mexican culture with an American culture, and those kind of mix. And I think people, they spoke English, but there was a lot of Spanish sounding like words that came out of it that had a huge like Mexican accent to it. And I'm pretty sure that's where it comes from. So the fact that this just proves that he does not know what the fuck he's talking about. This just proves that he wants to be insensitive, and he just wants to get the left mad, because later he tries. He even did this, and it makes me mad. And usually, I don't care if someone tries to like mimic like Latino, but he added Latino, ay ay ay. I bet he supports Trump with the Kung Flu Chinese virus. I bet he supports that. I don't. I've had mentors in my life that are not Latino, not Hispanic. They've probably their family or heritage has lived in America or the United States for a very long time. He's lived, and probably, he's a white dude, and this is one of my mentors. I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants it, but every time he refers to me sometimes by my culture or ethnicity, he goes, "Oh yeah, and the Latino brother over here." I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally cool. I was okay with Michael Knowles just like mimicking, "Oh yeah," when he says Latino. I don't care. But then he tried to add his own spin to it, and then I don't know. I won't say like it pissed me off, but it kind of struck a nerve. Um, and yeah, no, if anything. Oh, and he also tries to make these assumptions. He's forgetting about like the more. Oh God, I don't know, because the more centrist or progressive branch of liberals who do look at things with an objective sense. So, there are he he tries to like antagonize almost the Black Lives Matter movement by saying he tries to put words in their mouth by saying, "Oh yeah, if you're Black and Latino or something like that, then forget there's no Black Colombians. You're just Black." And it almost seemed like he was about to acknowledge that there are Black Latinos out there, as well as there's um, other races that contribute to Latino society. But he tried to almost antagonize the left, like, "Oh, there's a more Marxist approach. There's all the minorities who are just snowflaking in their own little bubbles." So, he tried. He's pathetic. But here's the thing about Latin America that a lot of people don't understand. It's not a race. It's pretty much, if you're just born there and you know the culture and you speak the language or languages, whether that be French, Portuguese, or Spanish. And yes, there's a French-speaking country, and I bet Michael Knowles does not know about that. It's like French Guyana or something like that. It's north of Brazil, um, and well, that's the only country that I really know that um, gets a lot of attention. That might help you. So just look up a map and you'll find it north of Brazil. There's just gonna be three small countries about of equal size, and you're gonna find it. I believe it's gonna be on the far. It's gonna be further east, the east smallest one. Anyways, think about it. The Americas pretty much has every race in it. I'm sorry. Let's just talk about Latin America, because we already know that the United States of America has every race in it and almost every culture. But let's talk about Latin America. Let's see, who was here first? The Native Americans. So yeah, there we go. We already have one race in there, And then let's see, who came and conquered them? Oh, yep, it was the Europeans. The Europeans. And then who did the Europeans bring over? Oh, right, the fucking Africans. Yes, the Africans. The fucking Europeans brought over the Africans against their will. And forced, took the land from the natives against their will. Think about that. And, well, we already have three races right there. And apparently there's also some theories. I can't say there's actually definitive evidence about Polynesians actually coming over to the Americas, more South America than anything, because I believe like there's sweet potato, and apparently those were found on some of the Polynesian islands. But we all know that sweet potato is actually originated and is native to South America and to the somewhere around the Andes mountain range. So yeah, excuse me, we know that much. And I also want to talk about, and this is gonna be probably, I guess, technically the fifth race. Excuse me, I'm burping so much. Asians, especially now, Asian migration to other countries. You can definitely see it. China's definitely sending a lot of their people to other countries. I believe Argentina being one of the countries that they're sending most of their population to within Latin American countries. I won't, because I believe most of it would be to the UK and to the United States. But other than that, if it was in a Latin American country, I'm pretty sure it's Argentina. All really white countries, which is kind of weird. So yeah, and there's pretty much a story to all of these. Obviously, there's no story to Native American. You know, if you know the story, you know the story. They migrated to the Americas 1,300 years ago over a land bridge, and yeah, you know that's pretty much the story. And then they migrated downwards, and well, there's not too much to that. Then there's some white history, of course. You can start with Leif Erikson. That's the furthest of um, European, like longest ago European to ever travel to the Americas, traveling to Canada, first finding Iceland and Greenland. And then there's Christopher Columbus. You know, and you know, with the Columbian Exchange I brought out, that really was the starting point for bringing white people over to the New World. Along with that came the slave trade, and well, there's not too much to the story there, but not too long ago, I actually found out about this liberator who was an African. He was an African slave in Mexico, and his name was Gaspar Yanga. Now, I haven't looked too much into him, but I know that he was actually a prince in West Africa or something along those lines. And he was a slave in the port of Veracruz. And, you know, I believe because he was one of the first liberators, he actually made the first, like, liberated town in the Americas from Spain. That was an African. So if you're African, or of African descent, and you want to add that to your, you know, knowledge of African achievements overall, I've definitely added that because that's definitely beautiful. Like the first liberated town uh, in the Americas. That sounds beautiful, and I'm, of course, being Mexican, I'm very proud of that. And I believe I should be sharing that a little bit more now that I have the information. So I'm just gonna study a bit more into it, and yeah, no, but definitely Gaspar Yanga is definitely a name that's ingrained in my mind now. Um, I kind of just already explained the Polynesian, and yeah, the Asians. Oh well, the Europeans. There's different reasons for why they migrated here. I believe in Argentina and Brazil, there's an Italian. Oh, there you go, Michael Knowles. There is an Italian population in Latin America. But that doesn't make you Latino. If you're born in Latin America, then you are Latino. But he doesn't get that. Like, if you're born in Latin America, I guess he just assumes you're Hispanic. But what if his parents moved to Argentina, for example, and I don't know, he was born there? Does that make him Hispanic? No, because there's no Spanish blood in him. He has, if anything, he has more Latin blood because people, you know, I think Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Greek, you know, they're Latin. Yeah, because you know their languages are derived from Latin, um, and I guess that kind of helped out what we'd soon call the region of Latin America. So, oh God. Also, I just want to quickly respond to the end there, to Michael Knowles, who was like, "Oh yeah, you know AOC, she's probably gonna have to make an apology for this later. If anything." AOC would just have to correct herself and saying, oh yeah, we have a black population. In case you didn't know, most of the slaves actually went to Brazil, which is a Latin American country. And by the way, Michael Knowles, you fucking idiot, Latino's not a race. Definitely not a race. What race is Latino? He's gonna probably say some stupid shit like Hispanic. That's incorrect. So incorrect. So, you know, I'm pretty sure AOC would just have to fix like that tiny, very tiny mistake. But other than that, yeah. it's so sad, and I'll just leave it with this. He's a fucking